Hello and welcome to this wonderful Epics Academy webinar about the use of video in promoting yourself online and basically keeping the highest standards possible using video. My name is John Keedwell. I am the founder of the Epics Academy you see on the screen there, and also author of the book Get the Message Now, available on Amazon should you care to take a look at that. I teach professional video techniques for entrepreneurs and businesses. My background is director of photography on numerous videos and films in the past, high-speed imaging specialist, which I'll go into in a little while if you like, and also photographer and also writer. So without much further ado, let's carry on with the video. This is a little bit about myself. This is me on the top right there of your screen. This is a little history of what I've done in the past, just so you know who you're talking to and who I am and what I've done in the past. So I have done TV documentaries, music promos and many music programs over the years, and I've worked in over 65 countries, and I've worked in from minus 35 degrees Celsius to plus 50, from the Sahara Desert to the Arctic Circle and everything in between. My career, I suppose, started actually before 1984, but let's start there anyway. I was called in to do work on Wild Boys by Duran Duran, which is a promo at the time, in 1984. Before that, I'd been doing sound recording for film at BBC Manchester and covered local news items on film on Ariflex cameras. It's a long time ago that now. I've travelled around the world filming with the Royal Navy for 9 months, as you see there. Started out on HMS Illustrious. That ship blew up, sadly, leaving Portsmouth, which is a little known fact. And then I got transferred to the HMS Manchester, which is a destroyer, a Type 42 destroyer, amongst other ships. I also worked on the USS Ranger, which is actually a film they shot Top Gun on the year before, as it happened, and it had just come out when we was just off Hawaii at the time. Anyway, much further ado, there's a few things I've done there. Travelled across Norway to South Africa in a fire engine, and probably the biggest thing that people get biggest wow is my world tour with Bon Jovi for about 6 months or so. Didn't cover the whole tour, but it was a good chunk of the tour for Europe, Russia and Japan, which is a big part of the tour in 88 and 89. Even had the New Year's Eve at the Tokyo Dome in Tokyo. All through China on steam railways and through Siberia in Land Rovers, travelling through rivers and whatever. And one of the biggest concerts, which actually stopped happening a few years ago because of the conflict in Mali at the moment, the Festival of the Desert, which is a festival of music in the desert in Timbuktu. That's the proper spelling of Timbuktu. 2005 to 2013 I went into Thatcham recording with high-speed digital video cameras, crashing cars majority of the time and testing cars generally, and I've been a voting member of BAFTA since the year 2000, voting on all the films, and I'm just currently in the process of looking at a load of films now, in fact. And a writer for the British Cinematography magazine. These are a few of the productions I've worked on. Again, let's see the ship in the top left, third one along, is HMS Manchester. The picture in the middle is actually shot in my house. It's a Roger Waters from Pink Floyd pop video, which is shot in my house. In fact, where that wheelchair is now, I'm actually sitting pretty much doing this webinar, bizarrely, but there you go. On tour Bon Jovi, that's coming out this year actually as a remake, as a re-edit, and also the whole history of Judas Priest and a whole bunch of... I did have a starring role in Notting Hill, the actual first opening scene in Notting Hill. However, the whole scene got cut out, sadly, and I was there interviewing Hugh Grant, but that's where the start of the film is a bit strange because it doesn't make any sense anymore. Anyway, that's Tonari Wan. That's a band we filmed in Mali, in Timbuktu, and me in Timbuktu Town Square. And on the very right, a copy of my book, the cover of my book, called Get the Message Now. Available at all good bookshops and very reasonably priced. Here's a few more things we did. This is actually particularly the Mali shoot in Timbuktu. That's what it was like. It was a little bit like Lawrence of Arabia. However, the camera car we had in the bottom pictures there, that actually had around about £500,000 worth of camera equipment on. And we had a 15-hour drive across the Sahara Desert with that, and didn't lose a single piece because it was strapped down so well by the local guys. It didn't even move. It was absolutely fantastic. The downside of it is it was exhausting, as in the picture on the bottom right, where he was waiting for his lunch after we'd finished the shoot, and he just fell asleep at the table. And if you look around, all the other people there are absolutely completely knackered. Anyway, much to do. So, video. My background is mainly film, but I obviously have changed over to shooting on video in the past, because that's the way things are done generally now. Why shoot video? Why have quality video, I think, is the matter for this video webinar. Well, here's a whole series of cameras that some are still available, some aren't actually. The flip camera doesn't actually, it's not available anymore. But all the other cameras are available. Some are stills cameras, or look like stills cameras, but also shoot video, which is a thing I'll get onto in a little while. Other cameras are quite reasonably priced. The camera at the top there is I'll just get the pen here so we can actually, this camera here is the Blackmagic camera, and this is a 2K resolution, which I'll tell you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you about all this in a minute. Very reasonably priced. It's about £1,200 plus lens, so it's a very good quality camera and very reasonably priced. And the other camera here is also the Pocket Blackmagic camera, which is about £600 or so, about $800 or thereabouts. This is a camera I have. This is a little Panasonic X920. I like this camera. It has limitations, but it's for the price. It's actually not a bad little camera. I shot a whole corporate film on there recently, and it's turned out really good. Other two cameras here is a Canon 5D. I think it's a 5D Mark II actually, this one, and this is a Nikon D800. Again, superseded by newer cameras, but they look pretty much the same. A lot of people shoot on DSLR cameras, and there's very good reasons for that, and there's also very good reasons why you actually shouldn't shoot on the DSLR cameras, which I will get to near the end of the webinar. So hang around, I'll tell you why there's pros and cons of shooting on DSLR cameras. Let's go on to the next bit. Now, this is a lot of text, and I don't expect you to read it all, but basically YouTube is a way of showing videos on the internet, which is a free way of storing your videos. There's reasons why you should use YouTube and reasons why you shouldn't, for various reasons. It's great for traffic generation and great to find your website. For quality reasons, I would choose other places to store your videos. However, it's free storage and it drives traffic to wherever you want to go to if you do it right. Again, it's doing it right. There's people just bung a video on YouTube and they don't actually work out how it's actually going to be seen, how people are going to see it, and how it's going to be tagged. But basically, YouTube isn't here to stay. Some of the statistics there are quite phenomenal. There are already 60 million YouTube users in China, and actually Saudi Arabia is the most avid YouTube user country in the world, with 90 million views per day by its citizens. Now, I don't know how many the population of Saudi Arabia, but I'm sure it's actually not even 90 million. It's also used in big corporate companies, which surprised me, but it is a phenomenon that is actually here to stay. Let's move on. Why do we want to use higher quality video? Well, to me, if you want to stand out, because there's so many people online now, 5 or 10 or 20 years ago when the internet started, there was a handful of websites and you stood out. Now there is literally millions and millions of websites, and probably millions going online every day. So to find yourself on video, you need to stand out. Now, if you're doing the same as everybody else and just kind of waving a smartphone around and actually recording what you do with having pretty appalling sound and having pretty appalling camera work, then ultimately you're not going to stand out. If your videos stand out above your competition, people take a little step back and they go, wow. And also the fact is, if you have a higher quality of your video, it reflects in the quality of your merchandise and your products. So they will trust and like you, and people only buy from people they trust and like. So your video is representing your business. And if you have a shoddy video with shoddy quality, you're saying to the client, your product or service is shoddy, in my mind. It's the best way to tell your message to many people. Now, different people learn things in different ways, and some people like to listen to things, some people like to read them, some people like to watch a video. Predominantly, people like to watch a video because it's quite simple to watch, and also you can illustrate things with a video that you can't on a CD or an MP3 in your car. However, I realise people like to listen to MP3s in a car while they're driving, so you can actually turn a video into an MP3 and actually make it a soundtrack alone. So you may as well shoot video to start off with and then make it into an MP3 for those people who like that. Oh, some people are actually genuine dyslexic, so they can't actually, they find it hard to read a PDF or something online. So very many successful business people are actually dyslexic. Anyway, let's not digress. Let's digress onto other things. Broadband speeds are getting faster, so higher quality video is becoming the norm. Before, even up until a year or two ago, it had to be low resolution video on a small phone on a small screen. Now the iPhone has a much bigger screen, which I'll show you in a minute. HD television has been around for several years. Hasn't even been rolled out properly, certainly in the UK, where the local news is still shot and delivered on standard definition, which shocks me. But now the technology is moving on so fast that 4K television is now becoming a standard. If you don't know what 4K television is, I will explain all in a little while, but suffice it to say it's higher quality, higher pixel rate and higher resolution. And there's even talk in professional circles of 8K becoming a TV standard not too far down the line. So high quality video, and people are used to watching high quality video, and the norm now is actually a large screen 4K television if you can afford it, and that's the way it will be happening in a couple of years' time. That will be the norm, not the exception. Trust me, it's already happening.